time to go bold, and it's time to talk about AFCON. AFCON, the Africa Cup of Nations, is starting, and it's right now, I don't know who's going to win 100% because anything is possible with the amounts of quality players and teams and managers that we have in this tournament. Tell us down below in the comment section what you believe is going to happen in AFCON, and let us know what you agree or disagree, and like this video for more content just like this. Brettson, AFCON, so how are you feeling?
Oh, I'm feeling good. I mean, I'm looking at these groups here, Alex, and we're not going to go through all the, the constituents, all the teams that are part of this, but I mean, this is so wide open. Ivory Coast are the hosts, right? And I love Ivory Coast head to toe when it comes to it. I love everything about them. Here's the issue, and I'll get into their roster makeup in a little bit, but here's the issue. If you're going based on historical winners, the last 7 AFCONs have had 7 different winners, okay? And on top of that, none of them have been hosts. You may recall 2 years ago or 3 years ago when it was Cameroon that had that strike force of Abu Bakar, and I'm going to forget the other names, and I'm sure you can come. Yeah, there you go, Choupo-Moting. We thought for sure that they were going to plow their way through as hosts, and they end up bowing out on penalties to, I think, Egypt, eventual finalists, Egypt. So here we go. In Group A, you've got Ivory Coast.
Just wanted to mention on that game, the lasers. That was mad.
Oh, yeah.
On the pens.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that.
Oh, my. But mentioning Abu Bakar first with Cameroon in this AFCON are a dark horse. We don't put them in the favorites category, I think, but I put Abu Bakar and Gisa, very interesting players to watch. Abu Bakar has 96 games, 37 goals for the Cameroon. A living legend, and in AFCON, he always goes bold. So pay attention to him.
And I doubt he'll play, but another one to watch for Cameroon is the youngest player technically in the tournament. And as always with that, you get the inevitable, Alex, the inevitable Youssoufa Moukoko treatment, where a picture comes out of Nathan Douala, who will be representing Cameroon at AFCON. And you immediately get the people out there that say, there's no way this kid is 17. And listen, it's not for us to care about that. If he's 17 and they have, the ability to say that he's 17, and, he plays for Victoria United as a midfielder, why are we going to argue whether or not he's 17? Okay? But anyway, youngest player in the tournament, one to watch, is Nathan Douala for Cameroon. But I agree. I don't think Cameroon, I don't think they've got the roster to make it far in this one. I don't see where else.
But Cameroon's group is Gambia, Cameroon, Guinea, and Senegal. I believe Senegal will be finishing top in this group. I don't think they're the favorite, Senegal, but they're in the top 3, 100% to win the AFCON. Sadio Mane, Eduardo Mendy, and Nico Jackson. Do you believe Nico Jackson will be one of the top goal scorers of this AFCON, Brettson?
I think he will. I think he will. I mean, I don't think he has played a massive part for Senegal yet, and I honestly think he'll get plenty of chances against worse defenses than currently exist in the Premier League. And as many big chances as he's missed in the Premier League, he has still put quite a few in the back of the net this season for Chelsea. So I do believe, I expect him to be in contention with Victor Osimhen, for Golden Boot in AFCON. But I do agree with you. I mean, Senegal, they are the defending champions. And there hasn't been a repeat, if I'm not mistaken, since Egypt repeated. Is that right? Is it Egypt?
I think so. Egypt is the top winner with 7. No, not 5.
With 7. And I think they did 3 in a row at one point, if I'm not mistaken. But it is still insane to me, Alex. Egypt being the winningest with 7 AFCON titles. And guess who does not have one to his current name?
Mo Salah.
You got it.
Last in 2010.
Mo Salah.
Last AFCON win for Egypt. But it's big responsibility. Like, Mo Salah was twice awarded the best African player in the world. Mo Salah is the reason a lot of people are going to pay attention to this Egyptian national team. So, do I believe Egypt is a dark horse in this AFCON? I 100% believe they are. Because they've got Mo Salah that's leaving a Liverpool title race to replace and make history in a competition that he is a legend of his nation. Mo Salah has 93 games, 53 goals, 30 assists. That's his record for Egypt, and I fully expect them to do everything they can to win an AFCON since they last won it in 2010. So it could happen.
And here's the hard thing for people to process, right? Sometimes teams, right, not individuals, but sometimes teams win international tournaments, and Egypt is exactly that. The reason why nobody sits here and talks about anyone but Mo Salah, maybe Omar Marmoush deserves a shout for his form. And Trezeguet, we all know, and El Neni, for his spirit, but he doesn't play much for Arsenal. He's still in Arsenal, right?
Yeah,
he's still in Arsenal.
He's still in Arsenal.
Yeah, he's never leaving. But when it comes down to it, and you look at the roster, right? You look at a lot of players that are still at Al Ahly, they're at Zamalek, they're at Pyramids, they're at all the domestic league. So there is not an understanding of exactly who will the stars be, who will this be. But guess what? The Egyptians are always an insanely cohesive team. And that's why, in my opinion, I wouldn't even call him a dark horse with Mo Salah leading the line, and with that team behind them, I put them up there in the top 3 of favorites.
I put Morocco, Senegal, Algeria, and maybe Nigeria ahead of Egypt, though. And I respect Mo Salah, but these 4 teams for me are the favorites, Breton. But it's a bold debate.
Fair enough.
But since you're hyping Egypt, I just wanted to ask you this. In Group B, there's Egypt, and there's Egypt and there's Ghana. Do you believe Egypt will top this group?
Yes, I do. I believe Egypt will top this group, and I think it will be Ghana behind them. I mean, it depends on how crazy gung-ho, a Mohamed Kudus is.
Yes, it depends on Kudus. I agree.
It does. And it depends, I guess, on the shroud of mystery around a Thomas Partey, right? I mean, I'm not entirely sure what we're supposed to expect. I guess he's not playing this. I don't think he is. But Ghana's got the Ayew brothers. They've got Mohamed Salisu, who's back and healthy for AS Monaco. They've got Abdul Samed. But I don't think they're going to have Thomas Partey. And without Thomas Partey, I don't know how Ghana goes insanely far in this. It just depends on how dominant Kudus is, Inaki Williams is. And I'd love to see a phenomenal tournament from Ernest Nuama, the Right to Dream product, the FC Nordsjælland product, who is still trying to get going for Lyon. But you're right. I think they're great up there. But just like Ghana, I put Nigeria in the same vein as Ghana.
What?
There is no doubt that Nigeria, just like Cameroon in the last AFCON, has by far the most potent attacking power, attacking force in AFCON. Victor Osimhen, Victor Boniface, Ademola Lookman, Chukwueze, Alex Iwobi. I mean, even I know Iwobi's more defensive now, but still, it's amazing. The issue is, Alex, is their defense and their midfield with the Ndidi injury is suspect. It's not good. It's really not good. So like Cameroon, unless they steamroll their way and offense is the best defense, I don't see Nigeria winning this thing. And that's my boldest statement, is that Nigeria is going to underwhelm.
And Nigeria have the African Player of the Year with Victor Osimhen, and the player that's in form massively, Victor Boniface, with 10 goals in the Bundesliga in 16 games. So that is a bold statement in my point of view, Breton. Nigeria understating in this AFCON. I don't know if I agree with what you said right there, but let's wait and see. But you're talking favorites. I think my favorite for AFCON is the obvious choice in my eyes. It's Morocco. Morocco was the most dynamic team we saw in the World Cup, African team we saw in the World Cup. Morocco was the first team to reach a semifinal of the World Cup. Morocco was the first African team to reach the semifinal of the World Cup. Morocco have a manager that understands the team, and they have a great dynamic with Amrabat, Hakimi, having the leadership roles and knowing how to conduct them. This is a great team in my eyes, and in terms of talent too, the way they play, the way they always go to win, the way when you see Morocco, you see a team that faces head-on any team in the world. They lost to France, but they did impress a lot of people. They beat Portugal. They beat Spain. They did magic in that World Cup. So this team deserves to win an AFCON. They deserve to win an international trophy. It's one of the greatest generations of Morocco. So I have to say that Morocco is, one of the favorites 100% in my eyes.
I would agree. I would agree with you, and how better to solidify your progress than following up a World Cup semifinal final appearance with winning your first AFCON title in almost 50 years. Morocco, that just shows you how special what they did in the World Cup was. I mean, if it wasn't already special, like insanely special, they have not won an AFCON in almost 50 years. And you're looking at a young core, too, bolstered by a lot of really, really good, wily veterans. But you're looking at a young core and not possibly. He is the best young player, U21 player in this whole tournament is Bilal El Khanous. And I want to see Bilal El Khanous unleash. I want him in this.
Diomande,
You're right. So I should say, best U21 midfielder here. But no, I would still say all around, he is the one I am most excited to see.
There's another one.
One I am most excited to see.
Pape Matisar, Breton. El Kudus.
True. Still, El Khanous. He's been the maestro. He's been the maestro for Genk. He has been given the keys to the kingdom at Genk. I think he is primed for a big move in 2024. And I think Bilal El Khanous being given the keys to the midfield at least the creativity and the offensive nature of the midfield for Morocco. His progress in this tournament is key to whether or not they win it.
I like it.
Bilal El Khanous.
Must young players you got to watch in AFCON. It's Diomande, it's Bilal El Khanous, like you're mentioning, Pape Matisar, Victor Boniface, even maybe an Alex Moriba. Could surprise a lot of people. Have a nice AFCON. Never know. But this AFCON has a lot of talents to watch. It's true.
But one more. I mean, from another team that we're not really going to talk about, Burkina Faso's Dango Ouattara. He is impressed for Bournemouth. Absolutely impressed for Bournemouth at what? At fullback, right? He's been playing fullback for Andoni Areola. They've won 7 of their last 8, or they've not lost 7 of their last 8. I think there's a tie in there, a draw in there somewhere. And their most recent loss was to a big team. But Dango Ouattara is one that you definitely have to watch. I think you mentioned Adingra for the Ivory Coast, but you mentioned Diomande, you mentioned Adingra, and that's why my favorite here, even though the last 7 tournaments, the host has not won, right? The last 7 tournaments has seen different winners. My favorite is still is the Ivory Coast, because let's walk through just really, really quickly. We got to walk through their defense. They've got Aurier. They've got Diomande. They've got Wilfred Singo, who is highly coveted, and in 2024, a lot of teams are going to be after him. Evan Ndika, Odelan Kosunu. Okay, in midfield, you've got Seko Fofana, Ibrahim Sangare, Franck Kessié, Jonathan Bamba, who can play attack and obviously in midfield. And then up in attack, you've got Haller, who should cook at the AFCONs, even if he hasn't been cooking for Dortmund as of late. Adingra, Jeremy Boga, and, you can throw in Nicolas Pepe if you'd like. Their biggest question mark is their goalkeeper, right? But I love the depth and I love the pedigree of every one of those players in each of those sections of the field. So whether or not they can put that to good use in Abidjan, Ivory Coast, that's going to be the biggest question. And I think they're going to break the curse. And I'm going to say Ivory Coast breaks the host curse and they win AFCON 2023, held in 2024.
And do they win Group A with Nigeria?
Yes.
You're going so bold, Breton. I do think Ivory Coast or Nigeria will be topping Group A,
yeah. Well, that's an easy one. But the Ndidi injury, I mean, it's bigger than I think people are giving. Or it just happened. So
But
you can't necessarily. People are still processing it. Behind them, I know they've got who's going to step in for him, Youssef. Youssef, who plays in the Belgian Pro League. But come on, that's humongous. An already scant midfield and an already scant defense. And they're so top heavy in Nigeria. I just don't see it. I see that running out of steam at some point.
And when you
I see that running out of steam.
And we mentioned in this video, AFCON Group A, we believe Ivory Coast and Nigeria will be going through. In Group B, we believe Egypt and Ghana will be going through against Cape Verde and Mozambique. Two Portuguese-speaking countries. Borola. I'd love to see one of those teams going through. Then we have Group C with Cameroon, Gambia, Guinea, Senegal. I believe Senegal and Cameroon will be going through in Group C. And Group D, Algeria, Angola, Burkina Faso, Mauritania. Algeria we believe is going through. And maybe a Burkina Faso in Group D.
Yeah, I think so.
And then finalizing Group E, Mali, Namibia, South Africa, Tunisia. I think it's Mali and Tunisia. I think this Tunisia team is very underrated. Annabelle Mejri, shout out to him. And the last group, Group F, with Congo, Morocco, Tanzania, and Zambia. Morocco will be topping this group. But pay attention to Simon Banza for Congo. He's the top goal scorer of the Portuguese league with 14 goals scored and 3 assists. It will be very hard for Braga to be keeping a player like him. And Zambia with Pat Standaka. Pat Standaka has been doing a great job at Leicester. He's back.
And I do want to throw out Lamek Banda as well, who's been great in Serie A this season, breaking through. So I think Zambia has some ones to watch. And that's the thing is, like, we talk about for Algeria, you've got Fares Shaibi, you've got Mohamed Amora, who's having a ridiculous season for Union Saint-Gilloise. You've got Karim Konate, who I haven't really talked about for the Ivory Coast. For Morocco, Amir Richardson and Ismail Saibari. There's so many names that I am so excited to watch in this, Alex, that I'm getting psyched. First big tournament of 2024. For Gambia, Yankuba Minte should be huge. Zito Luvumbo for Angola.
Zito,
so
I'm
ready for this to get going. I think one that from Liga Portugal is Geni Katamo.
Jenny Katamo, yes. For me,
Jenny
he should be the right wing back starting for Sporting. Yeah, very interesting player, you said, right? Sporting have Diamant and Jenny Katamo, both players that I believe are starters. They're going to AFCON. Yeah. Man City knows. Man City knows how to organize players.
You know who else knows?
Who?
Yeah, you know who
Newcastle.
else knows? Nottingham Forest. They've got, I believe they have 6 first-team players or close to first-team players that are in this tournament and have been released for this tournament. So Forest's festive fixtures quickly became unfestive once they realized how many players they were losing.
But let us know down below, who are your predictions to win AFCON? Do you agree with what we said? And what have we forgotten? Let us know down below. And don't forget to like this video in this podcast, people.